Well, hey, how's everybody doing? Working on some wiring up tail lights, turn signals, brake lights. To hell with reverse lights, don't need those. Tired of running extra wires places. Installed the remote throttle position sensor. It's mounted over there on a firewall. Already got it wired in. All the wiring harnesses are in. It goes to the transmission. All the wiring's done except for some random switches and stuff. I'll show you what I'm doing. Got my control box mounted right there, and I got the TCM mounted right there. All the wiring's, like I said, just about done. It's kind of dark in here. I don't know why, but I still got a little bit more wiring to do, like about that much. And that's either switches to 12 volt positive or switches to ground with either fixed on and off switches or momentary switches. So yeah, that's fun. But I can't go any further with the trans controller until I do the brake light circuit, because it's got to have a brake light circuit. But it's got to have a switch for select manual mode to automatic mode. It's got to have a switch for bump shift up, bump shift down. It's got to have a switch for manual torque converter lockup in any gear. It's got to have a switch for calibration mode A and B. There's a bunch of different daggone switches and stuff I got to hook up to that to get this completed the right way. I mean, I could probably fire it up and not have any of that hooked up, but except for the brake light, and it'd be alright. But I don't know. But anyway, to hook up the brakes, I got to actually have brake lights. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's looking pretty kick-ass in there, I think. I don't know. It's getting there. It'd be a good thumbnail if it wasn't dirty. But yeah, it's definitely getting there. But yeah, I'm getting ready to run a whole bunch of different wires from the front to the back of the truck, and I already cut the old wiring out. It's somewhere randomly, probably over there in the pile of the rest of the truck. Got a whole truck bed liner full of stuff I gotta haul off still. If anybody needs any S10 parts, interior parts and whatnots, stuff. But anyway, yeah, wire them up. You know, obviously run the wires first, then wire them up. And could be a dick and do it all in red wire, but I'm not going to be. I thought about that when I was building this. I was like, man, if something happens to me one day, somebody gets this truck and like needs to do something, I should just do like I do on the lawnmowers and just use all red wire for everything, even grounds, just to confuse people. But I'm not going to do that. I got like a bunch of different colors of wire, and still all the things I've wired up so far, everything's wired up so far. Not a single piece of electrical tape has been used, not a single crimp connection has been used. Everything has been soldered and heat shrank, with the exception of this one connection right there on the, well, two connections. The one right there on the battery for my trans controller, it's crimped and soldered, but no heat shrink. And the one on the ground right there for the trans controller, it's crimped and soldered, but not heat shrink. But like, that's not that important. I kind of like got lazy on that one because I was half asleep last night and I forgot to put the tubing on. I cut the tubing for it, but I forgot to put it on the wire before I soldered it. So I had it done, you know, and then I couldn't put the heat shrink on there. So them are the only two connections, but every other single connection in this entire build, every single wire, heat shrink tubing. And most of it I'm going to try to get this cool wiring harness loom wrap stuff and do it all neat to where you don't even see the heat shrink tubing. It's just all nice, neat black wiring harness. I'm trying to do this like really good, and then after that's done, get the trans controller in. Them traction bars right there have to go on there immediately. And then after traction bars, got to figure out some kind of a hood somehow. Either cut a hole in my hood and make a scoop, or figure out something to make a scoop out of, or there's just no way of putting a smaller air cleaner on it. It's impossible. I've put I put the plastic cap that came with the carburetor on there and took the rod out, and it hits the daggone plastic cap. So mid-rise intake's a no-no, I guess. But yeah, get the wiring done, get the trans controller finished up, get all the switches put in. I still haven't made up my mind if I want all the switches for the trans controller to be in the dash, or to be down there right beside the shifter somewhere, or like make a panel that's right in front of the shifter for switches. I don't know, haven't made up my mind yet. It'd be easier to put them in the dash, but it would be more functional and easier to use if they was like, you know, if I was sitting in the truck, like my hand's naturally right here. When I lay my hand on my leg, it's naturally right where the shifter is. I position that to where it's comfortable, easy to get to. So I almost thought about having the switch panel right here, having like 3 switches in a row, then another 3 switches in a row. You know, some of them be on and off, some of them be momentary. But then I thought if there's a passenger here, they're going to bump stuff and that's going to screw with it. So I thought about right there, but I'd have to lean up to hit the switches. So up here I'd have to lean up, but not really as far leaning up here to hit these switches as I would be down there in front of this shifter. And I thought about in between the seats, but like seat belts and different things, like I don't know. It's like a kind of a pain in the butt. I mean, I'll probably just drive it around in full manual mode anyway, but I would like to have a switch for the locking torque converter somewhere near the shifter. Even on the shifter, if I had like a little push button momentary switch to where I could lock the torque converter in and then unlock it, shift, lock it back in, that'd be really cool. I don't know. Right now I just want to get it done and get it on the road. But yeah, brake lights. So I got to figure out what all this is. A lot. Okay, that just gets out of my way. I think, no, that's ignition. Okay, yeah. This is the brake light switch. So I just got to figure out which one of these closes connection when you hit the pedal. Should be good to go. Figure out the amperage on the switch, make sure I ain't gonna run too much current through it, and if I am, I'll have to hook up a daggone relay, which I hate relays, so I'm gonna have to figure them out. If I had a new relay in the box with a pin out of how it works, it wouldn't be that big a deal, but I got all these old random used relays laying around. Like this one here, there's no markings on it, there's no numbers on it. It's like Chinese or something. Got a couple more somewhere else. There is markings on these, and these are heavier duty ones, I think. Yeah, so I'll be able to figure out how these work pretty easily because it's right there on the top of it. And then I have to figure out the pin out on the bottom of it. I take it I got to take that clip out to look at the numbers. I don't know. I haven't ever messed with relays. I've always just used bigger switches. But it's a learning process. So yeah, that's an update on the truck. Like I said, it's still just doing stuff to it. So I'll see you on the next video. Take her easy.